If you guys have any questions for Nichoel and I, we would love to answer. Bring them our way. See if we can answer them. So Nichoel is a professional poker player and host at the Bicycle Casino.
Seat 1 add-on 500.
Aces Ron is in the chat. Got to give a shout out to my main man, Aces Ron.
Welcome.
So is Scully. It's funny, Aces Ron comes in the chat and Scully pops right in too.
Double straddle 40.
We got another double straddled pot.
Thanks, man.
Double straddled again. 5, 10,
130.
20, 40. Folds around to Bruno on the button. This is just right in his wheelhouse. He loves playing with all his dead money out. Makes it 130.
And Israeli Ron has been kind of folding to Bruno, not giving Bruno as that much action. So he just
130.
flatted. And Ryan comes along from his dead 40 and calls 90 more. It would have been pretty sick if he would have just pumped it up and squeezed there. I think that would have been a good squeeze, knowing that Bruno opened on the button and Ron just flatted from the blinds.
Great flop for Israeli Ron.
And he leads right out. And Ryan hits bottom pair. Not strong enough really to continue.
He squeezed as well.
Yeah,
Bruno behind
and he
him.
knows that. He did like a little wink, like, I want to play with you, but I really can't in this situation. And Bruno has a gutter to the nut, straight.
He has to decide what this donk bet means from Israeli Ron. Does it mean a weak hand? Can he get him off it if he raises here? Should he just call and try to break something that is actually huge, or should he raise and try to get him off with some kind of draw? It looks like he's going for a weakish donk lead, and he's going to raise him.
And this pot is going to get massive, I have a feeling. If Ron just flats here and lets Bruno barrel off on the turn, this pot is going to get huge. What are you doing right here if you're Israeli Ron, Nichoel?
I'm going to call. I'm not going to bloat the pot any more than I need to at this point, but I'm going to be prepared to donk lead again on the turn.
I mean, because Ron's raise looks strong already because he bet into two people. Even though it's a donk bet, it should be kind of strongish. And then Bruno's raising, so I can see where Israeli Ron, and like you said, would just call.
Yeah, so the thing is look at their stack. So Israeli Ron had before that call, he had over 4,000. Bruno has him covered. Do you have to get 4,000 in on a flop with ace high flush draw? No, you don't have to. It doesn't look weak to just call that raise there. Just because you just call doesn't mean, oh, now you have a bad hand and you don't have any options. You can do this. I like this bet here from Israeli Ron because it always leaves your opponent kind of tongue-tied as to, well, what does this mean? Do they have a set? Do they have two pair? Do they have an overpair? What made them bet out and just call and then bet out again? I like the play. I like the way that you can kind of massage your really deep stack by doing something like this rather than just 5-bet jam all in with ace high nut draw.
400 bigs.
For that amount. It's just not necessary.
And yeah.
I mean, you
like
can
that.
sometimes, absolutely you can, but it's just
you have
not
to make sure you have a lot of fold
necessary.
equity too.
And obviously, we can see if he had done that, he might have easily gotten a fold, but that's just only because we can see the cards. And now Bruno's going to try to get lucky. Doesn't do it.
Unfortunately for Bruno, he doesn't hit it, the gut shot, but Ron as well just has ace high. So if he was planning on stealing it, that might be a very good card. Ron looks like he's going to turn his ace high into a bluff as well.
And now here's the question. What are you doing on this kind of board? Now that you've played it this way, now that he's played it basically the way that I'm thinking I might have in this situation. He gets called on the turn. This leads me to think I would check here because this is if my opponent has a value hand, if he has a pair, and he called on that turn, and he's still going to call on this river. So I would probably check, and then if my opponent bets on this river, then I have to decide. Then I have something to think about for a while and decide, is he bluffing or is he not? And can my ace high be good here? And what ranges does my opponent have? Israeli Ron decides to bet out. Bets 1,300.
And Ron's line is so kind of, and he goes
all
all
in.
Oh my gosh!
And this is why.
Oh my gosh!
Can't bet here with ace high in light of an opponent who is really good at feeling out these different lines. And Bruno is not scared to play a deep stack against an opponent. And had Israeli Ron checked here, I don't know if Bruno would have shoved. But even if he would have in that case.
Wow.
Would I fold probably with ace high? Probably, yes. If he bets something like 1,300, like Israeli Ron bet, it's something that you can possibly call in that situation.
I mean, how good is this kid? I mean, he called the good shot. I mean, he bet the flop, and then a weird line. Ron went from bet call when he got raised on the flop to lead again, and then Bruno just shoves. How good is he to know that Ron has something like an ace high or a queen deuce type hand, and just goes in for it?
No.
I wish we can can we zoom in on Bruno, see if he has pulse in his neck? I think I could see it from where we're at, but it seems like it's going. Usually an indicator of strength when I see it going, but in this one it's got to be because it's just a huge pot. Not giving away too much, and this was exactly how Ryan was sitting, very still, trying not to give away anything. That's why I was thinking maybe Ryan is trying to do a reverse towel where Bruno is actually doing that towel, or maybe Bruno always sits like this. And what a good read by Ron, just to think that his ace high is good. Like, this is just an incredible hand played out all together of two guys who play each other that know exactly where each other is at. Like, Bruno knows exactly where Ron is at, and Ron has a very good idea where Bruno is at. It's just, can he make this call?
Here's the thing, that's like you touched on basically everything here. For people who are watching this, are like, oh, how was he even thinking about calling? This is many, many, many hours of history that these two have had against each other, and that's everything in deep stack poker. They've got so many hours. They've got so many levels going on against each other. They've got so much history that Israeli Ron actually thinks he can be good, and he's right. And he's trying to talk. He's trying to get Bruno to talk now. Trying to get him to give him anything because he feels like he wants to make this call with ace high. And this is an amazing play from Bruno, and it'll be an even a more amazing call if Israeli Ron could do it.
Meaning your great grandma maybe fucked it. That's very low percentage, bro. That's not.
Bruno should, and when Bruno's in a big pot like this, he should try not to give anything away at this point. Like, if I'm Bruno, I'm staying quiet, whether I have it or not.
Exactly that. Look at him.
No, he was
nothing.
like talking to Israeli Ron right now. I'm not giving Ron any info.
It wasn't even 0.2. You're talking 4 or 5 generations. You just said 23 and me, right? Yeah.
And Ron wants to call this so bad. I mean, this is just a phenomenal hand for the people that, like Nichoel said, that don't watch this show. These guys play a lot of hours, so they're just reading each other almost perfect here.
How fast is Bruno's heart beating right now?
It's got to be going.
Like the heart monitor.
But you know what? As more time goes by, the least likely he's going to call. So if he was going to call like 30% by 2 minutes, 3 minutes after right now, it's probably going to be going down to about 15%. The more time Ron takes, the less likely he's going to call. But he's trying to talk. Oh, he almost did it. He almost put him in. Oh, my goodness.
It's called, yeah.
If he does this is insane.
And I tell you what, even though the more likely he thinks, the less likely he is to call, the more likely he thinks, still the more Bruno is sweating. Like, you do not want to see that guy's pits after this hand. Like, he is dying right now, like seriously dying. He looks very stoic. He's doing an amazing job, but he's hurting inside.
I think all the emotional swings he's going through right now is worth that $10,000 pot, though, Nichoel. I have a feeling it's worth $10,000.
As long as he wins it, it's totally worth it.
I know, right? To go through the emotional stress and just sitting there, heart racing, everything. And look at his hands. You can tell his hands are not comfortable. He has one hand. If you put the cameras on Nichoel and I really quickly, if you look at Bruno's hand, he's doing this with his hand, and he's putting his index finger into his thumb. That's usually a tension or stress, and I noticed that on the table. And he calls. He calls. He called.
Oh my God! Oh, Israeli Ron, you're the bomb.
Whoa.
Wow! Oh, and Bruno's dejected.
Whoa.
Sorry, Bruno, but that was an amazing
That-
play. You shouldn't feel dejected. I know it hurts, but wow, that was an amazing play, Bruno. Amazing call, Ron. Holy
Wow.
crap.
I'm glad I witnessed that. And that is so sick. That is so sick. I'm so happy for Ron, too, to make that call.
Look at Bruno just staring at the camera.
He's just like, I mean, honestly.
He's like, you know what he's saying? He's saying what Phil Hummus says. I can't play any better.
Yeah,
than that.
yeah, yeah.
I just can't play any better
Yeah,
than that.
yeah, I agree with you. I agree. That's what he's saying. I mean, he played. I mean, my hat's off to both players. I mean, Bruno played his hand exactly perfect with the lines he chose, and then Israeli Ron played his hand great too. I mean, that's just like high quality poker and two players that know each other. Because if Bruno does that to some random player, they're gonna fold.
Oh, insta.
And if Ron does that to some random player, he's probably going to be incorrect with his read.
Oh.
But since they know each other, boom, it's just a perfect equation, and Ron got
Look
the
at
right
Cyrus's
answer.
face.
Someone make that emoji. Look at this.
Oh, you're the best player at the table.
You're the best player at the table now, Eldar says.
Oh man, I wonder what Ryan Fees is thinking right now in his head. Like,
He's
what
like,
is going
I'm
on?
gonna come back here and play every
Every-
week. We're here every Tuesday, Ryan. That was amazing, and yeah, and even.